different. It's a different vibe. I think that got really misconstrued. I think if you like were to cook me dinner and light candles and I went, oh, that's romantic, I wouldn't mean that there's candles in dinner. I would mean that you've done something really nice for me to make me feel good. That's romantic. So every time you do something nice for me, I like it, honestly, like makes my, like, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. It's disgusting, but it makes me really, really happy inside. It makes me feel really loved. And that's romantic, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to lie. And please, absolutely, like, give me your side of the story here.
It's going to be great. Yeah.
I don't think we've really had a particularly romantic quarantine. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, because I don't think it's been particularly easy to find or do anything romantic during this time period. I think it's quite romantic that I cook for you every day. And I think it's quite romantic that you set up my technology when I don't know what the hell I'm doing, which has happened a couple of times.
And I barbecue the fuck out of stuff for you as well.
Yeah, well, I think you do that because you love to barbecue. But I love it. No, but I love it when you cook. Yeah, when you go to the shop and you come back with like my favourite slabs of protein, that's romantic, because I know that you prefer sirloin over fillet, and you'll get fillet for me. Lads.
Slabs of protein for your missus, they'll love it. Yeah,
that's romantic. But I don't think, other than me cooking for you and you really helping me with the technology side of what I do, and like, let's be clear, like, I need a lot of help in that area, and James really does like give up his time to help me do it. That's really romantic. I don't actually think we have been that romantic, and that's okay, because what the hell are we meant to do? I
think because we've had those themed days, which we did. We did pizza day.
Yeah.
We did Ibiza day. You know, we've sat and had the weekends off completely, and had like, you know, when we went around London holding hands, we walked past all that kind of stuff. I class them as like romantic moments.
Remember when we held hands?
Remember when we held
for an hour? Yeah. An hour one day in quarantine.
I let you hold my hand. That's fucking romantic. What do you mean? What more do you need?
I'll tell you what was romantic. It's my birthday in 2 weeks. 2 weeks today.
Yes.
And James wouldn't hold my hand at the shops yesterday, and I was getting really annoyed because I'm
Needy McNeederson.
So clingy. And it turned out it's because he was hiding my birthday card in one of his like magazines.
Not one of them magazines. It was actually Mac format.
One
magazine.
Of those, but yeah, it was a super cool computer magazine.
Can't buy porn magazine anymore. We don't need to really with Pornhub.
And also a gun magazine.
Yeah, I got rifle magazine. I'm into my shooting, so you know.
So that's why that was really romantic, even though I've basically organised my whole birthday. But again, at the same time, if I hadn't organised my birthday, you would have just got your PA to do it. And then I would have been pissed off, because then it would have been really void of romance. Whereas at least when you let me organise my own birthday, I can make sure that I'm doing everything I want to do. And I would much rather that than your PA did it.
So what advice would you give to people to keep it romantic in lockdown? Based on the fact that you think doing things for each other, what would you say? Would you be cut 3 tips for them?
I think, the first tip would be to understand each other's languages of love. So this is how different people feel loved and appreciated in a relationship. So for me, a really big one is just like being like people being affectionate with me, being nice to me, being patient with me. All those things are things that I really need in a relationship. For James, I think actually he needs his space a lot more than I do. I think he needs the freedom to be able to go and do what he wants to do. He's gone shooting a couple times with a couple of his friends at a distance, obviously with guns, I would hope so.
Not shooting my friends at a distance, that's a bit tight.
He likes to be left on his own for a few hours most nights to DJ or, watch porn, evidently.
I don't do this. You're going to make me out to be my autobiography is called What a Flanker, based on What a Wanker. I'm not even doing that. I never pull the end of it off.
No, he likes to have time to himself, which obviously is very different to me, but I like to give that to him. I think obviously then finding time to be together, and in terms of, just eating a meal together, going for a walk together, whatever it is, just talking. And I think, I don't know, I'm a really big believer in saying good morning and kissing each other and having a cuddle before you get up and start your day. And the same thing at night. I think it just kind of reinforces that you love each other and you appreciate your life together.
Yeah, so basically we got into a situation where we had quite a few rows where, because we were in lockdown, and I feel like we spend a lot of time together, and by spending a lot of time together, we're happy, but you obviously want some more of those special moments. So, for example, when I get into bed at night, I just pick up my book. I'm reading a fantastic book you bought for my birthday, Doctor Strange and Miss Norrell, and you want that time to have a bit of intimacy before bed. And I don't get me wrong. I want you to read before bed. I think that's fantastic. But just like,
literally 20 seconds to be like, good night, love you, kiss, cuddle, and then read.
But my point was, I think because you get into a routine, you take those moments for granted where you're saying, actually, that's those little bits, wake up in the morning, I love you, big kiss, go to bed, I love you, good night, do a little chat before whatever you do is integral to a relationship.
I think, look, I'm not saying you have to check in with each other every 5 minutes or every hour throughout the day. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, I think just starting the day by being like, hello, like it just says, I'm happy that I'm with you. I'm happy that I'm spending my life with you. Now go, be free, and we'll reconvene later. And I think it's important. Well,
okay, fine. So we've agreed on that point of view, and some nice little tips for you there. Talking about the dreaded word sex, S-E-X, learn to spell. Obviously during lockdown. I think there'll be couples out there who've been at it like rabbits.
Yeah,
and I think there'll be couples that haven't. Now, we have an interesting situation within our relationship that timing is our issue.
Yeah, it's really annoying. James is like false advertising. First of all, just with how he looks, it's like, oh, this is going to be fun. He's like an injured, hobbly old man. Oh, so there's that.
How fucking gay.
But then also, yeah, like, I think when we first started dating, and like really throughout the first few years of our relationship and even the beginning of our marriage, it was like fairly to be expected that the evening in bed together was our time.
Yeah.
You've completely pulled the rug out from under me, and I don't really know how to handle this. But now James has decided that he doesn't like it in night. This is so over the top. Too honest, whatever, it's fine. And that he will only now have sex in the afternoon, which is when I work, I train, I cook, I clean, I do all of my like professional and domestic errands in the day. And I'm like, this is absolutely suboptimal timing for me. And you can't just change it like that on a dime. But he has. And so now we're in this weird situation where I either have to give up time professionally or personally or domestically, or it just doesn't happen, which I feel is unbelievably unfair on me. But you have a different take.
Yeah, of course I have a different take after that little sob story about false advertising, you biatch. First of all, lads...
I don't think anyone says biatch anymore.
They do. Me and Brittany from the early 90s. How good does she look as a schoolgirl?
Oh, God, the fetish never ends.
She did look bang tidy in that little setup. I'm not going to lie to you. Anyway, hit me, baby, one more time. Okay. But anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked to imagine what she looked like then. We're talking about, she's full of face. She's rolling her eyes.
No, I know how you feel about tartan skirts.
What?
Anyone trying to have an affair with my husband, just rock up in a tartan skirt and you are his.
No, I'm yours forever, babe. So we're talking about that. I mean, look, I think... I'm interested in lads to send an email in actually about what they think about when their preferential sex time is, because to be honest with you, at night, because I work quite hard in the day like you do, but I train quite hard as well, obviously different kind of training modalities, a lot of fitness based stuff. I am getting older and my body's pretty battered.
You look better with age, babe.
I'm more of an afternoon operator. That's when I do my best work. I get on the workbench and I do some create some magic. At night time, when I associate bed with going to sleep, as I always have done through my like sporting career, I'm tired by the time I get to bed. So it's not my best. It's not when I do my best work. I sort of lay in bed, my back's pretty sore. I get settled in my orthopedic pillows, and I'm ready to absolutely fall asleep.
Oh my God, I'm married an 80-year-old.
No, but I have actually come, sort of leapt at the chances a few times in the evening, but it's not my preferred zone. And actually, I wonder whether because we've been in lockdown, we've sort of spent so much time, we've sort of taken for granted maybe that we're spending time together and stuff. Maybe, setting aside some time for some magic creation might be the thing moving forward. I don't know what you feel.
I feel that
the enthusiasm was coming off you in waves.
Because I truly feel that I've consistently been trying to make compromises in this subject matter.
Right.
And that actually, like, sometimes it's just a bit like, okay, I need you to...
What, come to the table for you? Yeah. Compromise, what you're talking about?
Yeah, there has to be, like, I have to, like, that's romantic.
Well, okay, so why don't we bring in the policy which we tried to do, which was, I'll come on to you, then you come on to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't work when only one of us, me, is doing it. You have to pay it back.
Well, you can't do it yourself, babe. I've seen you try to do that.
Do you think your libido has suffered since you joined up to fight training? Because I reckon that's got a bit to do with it.
Yeah, I was exhausted. I was eating 5,500 calories a day eating about 2,500 calories during that thing. The only thing I wanted to do was go to sleep, cry and pray. I'm not even religious. So yeah, that potentially has had a bit of an effect. But also I think when you're in lockdown together and you're sort of focused and working all the time, the novelty of kind of having fanny on tap, if that's what you can say, kind of just wears thin a little bit, I think. So you just maybe need to revitalise that stuff. And maybe, like we said,
it's just reminding me of something Dor said the other day, and it's making me feel sick.
Oh, God. So that's what I think. So, okay, we'll try that compromise then. So, lads, try that. But I'm interested to see whether it's a weird thing for men, or whether or men always like it at night, or whether a day operator. I've always been a day operator. I sort of compromise because I only used to see you in the evenings. That's why.
James Haskell, you have not always been a day operator.
I have always been. That's my specialty. Finish training in the afternoon, do bits, go to sleep.
Who were you doing bits with?
I lived at home for
4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I lived at home for a long period of time, right?
Oh, so that bodes well.
No, but I did because.
Well, I lived at home.
No, because I played away. Sorry, this sounds cliche. I played abroad for a long time, and I always got shit short-term contracts with WASP. So I stayed at my parents' house. So because they lived in buttfuck nowhere, you couldn't ship in any bits and pieces for evening operation because you had to meet your parents. Your mum would be like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm fucking 30, mum, fuck off. And I was with you as a 30, awkward. So I'm 25, 26, whatever. It didn't bode well. So if you're going to do any bits, it'll be afternoon. So that's why it's always been ingrained with me. But with you, because we only saw each other, that's why it's happened. So I'm interested to see when women like it, when men like it. Send us an email.
I don't know if it's to do with sex, meaning gender. I think it's to do with, I think it's just to do with preference. I mean, yeah, I have shit to do. I have a lot to do. Like, you see how busy I am, right? And I'm like,
all that moaning doesn't take care of
3 o'clock in the afternoon for me is a work hour.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
treat yourself.
But also, like, in the evenings, like, a lot of people, obviously, we've had I definitely have had my kind of experiences with alcohol throughout this quarantine, but I've stopped drinking now in the week. And you have to admit, like, if you go to bed on a glass of wine, it's more fun.
I'm not a massive drinker,
like it,
so
do you?
No,
that's true.
I mean, we had some red wine the other night.
Are we
which
just
was lovely.
discovering on our first ever couples quarantine that we're not sexually compatible?
Oh my God, is that
what we're discovering?
Next it'll be couples quarantine with just James Haskell. Chloe's left me.
Why do you get to keep the podcast?
Because I know how to record it, do technology.
That's true.
So that's basically.
Point.
Okay, one thing I was come on before we sort of wrap this rambling mess up is different diets during lockdown. I imagine lots of couples have had to put up with that. Lads wanting to do one thing, women wanting to do another. A lot of self-development stuff going on. What do you think?
I think at the beginning of lockdown, I was in a fat loss phase. I was a few weeks into a fat loss phase, and I realised pretty much immediately. I realised a few weeks in. I always do this. I give it time, and then I reassess as I go. I realised that it was going to have a negative, detrimental effect on our marriage and our lockdown experience together. So I implemented a diet break, which basically means for anybody who knows anything about or wants to know anything about nutrition and calories and blah, 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 I basically went back up to maintenance calories. What that meant was that we could have some freedom to enjoy quarantine together in the form of food and alcohol, because let's be honest, there's been absolutely nothing else to enjoy about it other than the sporadic weather, which has been fantastic on days. So that's what I did. And I'm really glad I did it because it gave us something to look forward to on the weekends. That you talked about Ibiza Day. We'd have a magnum of Whispering Angel in the garden. We'd have a beer.
You had a magnum of fucking Whispering Angel.
Yeah, you had with tequila, margaritas, pizza,
gin and tonics. I went through a massive phase of gin and tonics.
Yeah, like we had such a great time, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I'd been restricting my diet, which basically would have meant that I really wouldn't have had anything to look forward to at all. So I'm really glad that I did that. Now, I feel like I've given you all I can give, and now I'm like back to my fat loss phase, getting back on it. I'm glad that I did it, but I feel like that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting with couple stuff and the diet is actually encouraging your partners to get involved with you. It's nothing worse than you'll be on one. I mean, look, we're both on our diets, but we can't really merge because my goals are different from yours. You're in a calorie deficit at the moment. I'm just normal calories within reason. And I was a performance athlete. You were, transforming your body, which required calorie deficit again. Now I'm not a performance athlete.
It depends which phase you're in.
Fine, sorry, which phase?
You always say that. You're like, oh, she's always in a. I'm like, I'm not always.
Fine.
But it doesn't. But it feels like that to you because I think a normal day for you is 4,000 calories. Yeah. On my highest day, I'm on 2,000. So that's already half of what you're
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just, apart from a holiday when you come off a photo shoot, you carry 8 donuts back to the table and eat them.
I know. I've learned my lesson. I don't do that anymore.
No, but that's what I would call, when I eat, I mean, I don't really restrict myself. There's bits and pieces I don't eat and I track, but I don't have to.
Yeah.
You have to have an element of restriction to it. And even when I was playing, because I was burning so many calories, I didn't have to do that. So I think it's quite good to try and get your partner on board. You know, if the woman in the household is trying